Hello everyone and welcome to another interesting session on Python by TalentSprint. So I see many of you have already joined. We have Tejas, we have Anishwa, Prithvi has joined, then we have Gaurav, Charan, Gopal Krishna, Shravani. Hello everyone. So let's wait a few more minutes for more people to join and then we'll start off. We have Mohit, Tejas. All right. So before I start off, we are, as you know, the topic is top 10 reasons to learn Python. Now, those of you who are new to the channel, we have done a series of live videos on Python. So starting off with how to install Python to how to write basic looping constructs and conditional constructs in Python, to strings, tuples, etc. etc. We have seen all that there is to learn in Python programming languages. Now, for all of you who are new to the channel, as well as those of you who have stayed with us throughout these series, I thought to better do a video on 10 reasons why you should be learning Python, why you should go through all those videos and learn about this new language that's out there. Now, most of you would have learned C before, C++, or maybe have learned Java in your colleges. And maybe few of you are already working on some of these languages. But why Python? Why industry is slowly moving towards Python? Why there are more and more jobs coming up in Python? Why all the jobs that you would see on these job-seeking websites like Naukri.com are now increasingly in Python? What is all the fuss about Python? And why Python is, easy to learn, easy to get into? Why you, of all people, should now be learning Python? And especially someone who is new to programming. Let's say you have not read any of the programming languages or done coding in any of the programming languages before, be it C or C++ or Java. Why Python is the programming language for you to start learning programming? Because some people say that C is easier to learn. Some people say that Java is more in demand. So if you are learning programming language, you should learn maybe Java before. So here we are also going to discuss why instead of C, C++, and Java, if you are new to programming language, or if you have someone who is new to programming language going to start learning, why you should focus on Python at the moment. So we will have 10 reasons in today's session why is Python so very important for you to learn. And we'll meanwhile keep on discussing, answering your questions and discussing about each and everything in detail. All right, so make it more of an interactive session. Okay, cool. So we have many more. Sudhir has joined, Shreyansh, Dinesh, Gavala, Faizan, then we have Bhaisab Koke, we have Babu Kumar, Ravi Kumar. I'm good, Ravi. I hope you're good too. Then we have Mayur, Arigela, we have Kishore, we have Fayaz, Sheikh. Will Python beat Java in the future? So Sheikh has already asked a question, will Python beat Java in future? Sheikh, I'm not sure will Python beat Java in the future, because there are many companies which have still applications and multiple applications that are built off of Java, and many of the consumers are using programs and applications that are built on Java. So will these companies migrate to Python? Will these companies stay on Python? That kind of is a decision that the companies would take, and based on that it will come into picture whether Python will be Java in the future. And if you ask about the recent latest stats, the trend stats that are coming from the forums where people post questions, right? So let's say the programming language on which most of the questions are asked on Google, that stat has already beaten Java for Python. So most of the questions asked in programming language right now are from Python rather than Java. If you take another stat, for example, let's say the most searched for programming language, that has already beaten Java, right? Now, it's respect to what what particular thing you are looking at. Now, since there are already many companies that have their systems, applications, platforms built on Java, it's difficult to say will Python completely beat Java in the future, but yeah, quite likely. So we have Rashid, we have Ujjwal. All right, we have Tejas. Python alone sufficient for learning machine learning course? Animisheti Gopal Krishna is asking. So machine learning, Python is alone, yes, sufficient for learning machine learning. If you want to do machine learning, or if you want to go ahead and learn artificial intelligence, write programs in artificial intelligence, Python provides with libraries that are well-rounded enough to do anything that you want to do in machine learning, in data science, in artificial intelligence. We'll see more of that in detail towards the end of the session. And there are other languages as well, like R, but for someone who knows Python or someone who's getting into machine learning, artificial intelligence field, I would say learn Python and then move on to machine learning. It makes it really easy to work with machine learning. What is your opinion on object-oriented programming with Python in contrast with Java? Mohit, we'll talk about that also in more detail in the session. As for now, I would just say that with Python, you cannot only work with object-oriented programming. You can also code in different programming paradigms. We'll see what those paradigms are when we go to that slide in the session. Mayur, great to know that you've learned a lot. I hope you learn a little more today as well. Ravi Teja is asking how much time will it take to learn Python for basic. Let's say you want to learn basic programming, writing conditional constructs, writing iteration statements, just the basics of how to work arrays, strings, tuples. I would say it will not take more than a week if you continuously put 2 to 3 hours every day. That is all it would take for you to start writing code in Python, getting familiar with the syntax and the structure of writing code in Python. And once that is out of the way, the syntax is out of the way, how you write conditional constructs or how you write looping constructs, when you are familiar with that, then you can move on to writing advanced programs in Python very easily. So I would say just a week is like more than enough. If you consistently give 2 to 3 hours, that is. Okay, which is asked, would Python be accepted as a universal language, same as C language? Well, Python, as per me, is already a universal language. Everyone is talking about Python, everyone is learning about Python, everyone is teaching Python. In fact, there is a very interesting stat that will come down the line, that most of the universities of US have already started teaching Python as the first programming language to anyone who is getting enrolled in the CS 101 course. So if you are applying for engineering in any US university or a postgrad program in any US university, the first programming language that they are going to teach you is Python, which speaks a lot in itself. So to answer your question, would Python be accepted as a universal language? I think it already is being accepted as a universal language. Anuj is asking, what should I know to get a job in Python? Well, you should know how to write good program in Python. If you already know any other programming language like C++ or Java, it might be a little bit of struggle initially to move from that kind of thinking to Python thinking, because everything that you write in Java, let's say in 10 lines of code or 15 lines of code, comes down to 3 or 5 lines of code in Python. So to make your mind think like that okay, Python provides me everything as a programming language and I don't have to write lines and lines of code to replicate my logic, that is all that you need to worry about. And once you are good enough and confident enough in writing those short, crisp Pythonic code, then you are good to go for any kind of job in Python. Does Python has UI controls? Gaurav has asked. Gaurav, yes, Python has UI controls, and we'll see that in the session later. Okay, what else? Okay, Gursimir is asking, can you provide a video on how to make some project with Python? Gursimir, we'll see if we can maybe put up a video on how to make a crisp project in Python so that you know the flow of Python project making. Should I learn Python 2? Anuj is asking. I think if you are now starting to learn Python, don't learn Python 2, you should start with Python 3, because Python 3 is the latest version. Any new applications that will come up in Python 3. In fact, most of the applications that were already built on Python 2 will slowly move on to Python 3 because of the additional features that Python 3 provides. All right, so don't bother about reading Python 2 and then Python 3 and then mixing everything up in your head. Just jump straight on to Python 3. All right, want to learn Python? Do you have any playlist for this? Bhaiya Sahib has asked. We do have a playlist. You can go to the YouTube channel and you will see the Python playlist there. Okay, how Python is different from other languages. We will discuss that in the session, so I'll not take it up right now. Are you a Python developer? Yes, I am. I believe I'm a Python developer. I'm not sure how good I am at that. Learning still. Alright, Charan, if I started learning Python now, but I'm interested to work as a data scientist, and how much experience I should have to be in that position as data scientist? Charan, I'm not sure. It's I think not much to do about your experience. It is more to do about your expertise. If you have a very good grasp on Python, if you can write fluent programs in Python, and then I think it should be very easy for you to migrate to data science. We have data science also as one of the points in today's session. So if you have a good hold on Python and then you move on to data science, Python provides extremely good libraries for a data scientist to work on. And the more you work, the more experience you gain, the more expertise you gain in how to solve data science problems, the more it will be easier for you to score a position as a data scientist. All right, can we make dynamic websites through Python? Ujjwal has asked. Yes, we can make dynamic websites. Compared to PHP and .NET, Python, which one is better? Actually, kind of depends on what you're trying to do. You have compared PHP and .NET and Python, Mohammed, but as what I would say and as what you would see in the session down the line, you can use Python for almost anything. From where we can learn Python 3? Suraj, we have a playlist on the channel. If you go back to the YouTube channel, you will see a Python playlist, Python for Beginners, and it has everything starting from how to download it to your system, how to download the IDE on your system, and how to step-by-step start learning Python 3. And it's Python 3 for all those of you who are going to go to the channel and learn Python. We have discussed Python 3 throughout. There is no mention of Python 2. All right. What type of projects again? Okay, projects, maybe we'll put up a video. Our program also will be same as Python. No, since the two languages are different, R and Python, the program written in both will be different. Ria is asking, is there a huge difference between Python 2 and 3? I have just started learning Python on my own and I have started with Python 2. Should I stop and start learning Python 3 now? Yes, you should stop and start learning Python 3. There are not very many differences. I think as far as I recollect, there are 5 to 6 major differences. But it's just that once you start learning a programming language and once you start practicing using the language syntax and constructs of one version, it kinds of it sticks to your head, and next time when you're moving to another version, it is a little bit difficult to erase the old one and move to the new one. So if you have recently started, I would say avoid that, going to that scenario. Just stop it right there and move to Python 3. One very simple difference that I'll tell you from the top of my head is when you say a print statement in Python 2, it is simply a statement, right? You say print and you give in quotes or whatever you want to print. But when you do the same in Python 3, print is a function. So when you want to print a line, or when you want to print a statement, or when you want to print some number, you say print and then you give a brace. And inside that brace, you have to give whatever you want to print. So it's a very minor difference, but once you start typing print and then 42, and when you do the same print 42 in Python 3 and you see that it is not working, it irritates you. So I would say you better stop Python 2 and start Python 3 right now. All right. How can I improve my logical thinking? Anuj, practice as much as you can. The more you write code, the more it is easier for you to logically think, because you make a mistake in one program, two program, five programs, and then you do it right in the sixth program. And then let's say you are building a huge application, you remember that error and you do it right in the first go. So the more you practice, the more you write code, the more it improves your logical thinking. Any prerequisites required for learning Python? Absolutely zero prerequisites for learning Python. All right, what's up next? I'm sorry if I miss out on a few of your questions, because there are many up here. Python is an interpreted language rather than being a compiled language, and the possibilities with Python limited when compared to languages like Java and C. I would not say the possibilities are limited. In fact, I would say Python has very nicely used this feature of being an interpreted language to its advantage. All right, which you will experience more and more when you write your code and you execute your code, and you'll see that it avoids the compile time that other programming languages take. So for running other programming languages, it has to be compiled. The program has to be compiled before it runs. While for Python, the time of compilation of the program before it is interpreted is saved. So the Python language has very nicely used this to its advantage. I know C++, so can I learn Python? Yes, Piyush, you can, and it should be pretty easy to move from one language to another, since you already know what a looping construct is, what while loop is, what do while is, what's a if statement. You know all these things if you already know a programming language. Now all that is there to do is to learn the syntax of the other programming language. So let's say you write let's say print statement in C++ is a cout statement. All that has changed in Python is instead of cout, you say print, which is fairly simple to remember, right? You have to print something on the screen, you simply say print and it gets printed. So that way Python is very easy to move from any other programming language. All right, can we build apps through Python? Yes, people have built many apps and mobile apps as well on Python. Do we have to learn Java necessarily before learning Python? Durgesh, like I said, there is no prerequisite to learning Python. If you haven't learned even a single programming language in your life before, you can directly start learning Python. I'm 2012 CSE BTech pass out, currently learning Java and trying to get a job as fresher in IT. Sumit, all the best to you. I hope you get a job soon. Okay, and can we build iOS and Android app through Python? Yes, you can build Android and iOS apps through Python. Java knowledge will help in learning Python. Sumit, like I said, any programming language that you know will help you in transitioning to Python, because you already know some constructs that are there, right? So I think I already answered you. Node.js versus Python for backend. Prateek, I would say depends on what you're trying to do, what's the scale of the application. There are so many factors involved while choosing one or other programming language for your application or your website or your mobile app. So just with that statement, I'm sorry I cannot make a comment. Hi Musaddiq, my question is, So Rishabh says, I'm from commerce background and now I'm learning Java and will complete in 1 month. So will I be able to get a job in IT? Rishabh, I would say keep practicing as much as you can and be consistent with your code writing. So let's say if you are giving 1 hour of practice every day, keep continuing with that 1 hour, because it's fairly easy now to grasp who has a knowledge of Java and who doesn't. So you cannot fake it in an interview. So practice as much as you can and good luck for your job. Okay, what else? Anuj, if I have missed your question, can you please type it again? Because there were many, I might have missed it. Pratik is asking Node.js versus Python for backend. Like I said, Pratik, already, it depends on multiple other factors, that which language are you going to use for your front end, for your backend. It depends on the time that you want to take your application, the scale at which you want to build your application, etc., etc. So it's not a very straightforward answer. As a fresher, I am not getting interviews. Okay, I missed that question somewhere. As a fresher, I am not getting more interview on Python. After learning Python, how can I try for getting interview, and is there opening for Python as fresher? Charan, there are always opening for Python as freshers. You might have to try a little bit harder to get an interview call. But yes, of course, if you are good at Python and if you know how to code in, like I said, Python Inc. way, it should be very easy to score an interview and get through. Wallet says there are some Java tutorials here and I have just started learning Java a few days ago. Which one should I begin it? So okay, so all those people who are asking which one should I begin with, if you've just started some other programming language, I would say you rather move to Python. If you already know some other programming languages, it is very easy to move to Python. And like I said, I mentioned before, it should take around 7-10 days to as a beginner to get familiar with all the concepts of Python, and then it's all about how much you practice. All right, backend, then we'll talk about Mohit backend more in the slides. Knowing basic Python might not be enough. You have to know a little bit more. Basically, you have to know something about extra libraries if you can, because there will be multiple people who will be applying for a Python job. So the more you know, the better. It also depends on the time that you have to prepare for your interview. So whatever you can in the time frame that you have, consistently do it. And whatever you are learning, learn it perfectly. Okay, if you are saying that you know what say tuples do in Python, you should be able to answer every question related to tuples. You should be able to write good programs using tuples. You should be able to explain everything, every line of code that you have written in your program, right? So whatever you are learning, make sure that you know it in and out, and then move on to the next topic. Okay. Yes, Ravi, the live videos today we are talking about only Python. C language and Python similar? I would not say so. Every programming language has different syntax. So in my eye, no two programming languages are similar per se. Bikash says, I don't have any knowledge about programming or algorithm. I am not even from CS or IT background. Can I learn programming starting with Python, or should I start with something else? Bikash, like I said before, Python is the first language of choice when teaching programming language to new people, and especially when teaching programming language to people who are new to IT background or programming background. So I believe it should be fairly simple and easy for you to move into IT or programming field with Python language. Rishabh, I answered your question already, I think. So will I be able to get a job in IT? Yes, I would say if you have good grasp on the language, you should be able to get a job in IT. Okay, next up, is there any benefit of learning more than one programming language? Anuj, the more you know, the better, because if you, let's say, know Java and there's someone else who is applying for the same position as you and he knows Java as well as Python, so hiring him over you is an advantage for me, because down the line, if I want to write some programs in Python as well. Let's say my company right now does Java only, but I am thinking of moving to Python as well, so I'll hire that person over you, correct? So it's the matter of the more you know, the more you can give to the company, the higher the chances of you being hired over your peers. All right. All right, so let's move on to the session. We have taken a lot of time on the questions. I'll come back to the questions after, let's say, midway through the slides. Let's quickly go through the slides, see a few points why Python is the language of choice right now for many people. Cool. So let me. Okay, what is Python? All of you might already know what Python is, but let me just quickly give you a few points. So Python is a general purpose programming language. It is applicable across multiple domains. You can do a lot of things using Python, which we will see down the line in this session. Then Python is a dynamic programming language. It executes many common programming behaviors. Like I said, it does your execution during runtime. Someone already asked me, it is a runtime language, not a compile time language, and that's the reason that it takes to its advantage and is called a dynamic programming language. Next is, it's a high level programming language. It is independent of particular type of computer. Okay, you don't have to worry about whether you're writing your code in a Mac OS or a Windows OS or a Linux OS. If your program is working on one, it's bound to work on everyone. And it is closer to human language. You don't have to, worry about how to write your code in machine language. It's a nice high level language that can work on any operating system. Then it is interpreted, which we have already seen, and it is multi-paradigm. So someone asked me about object-oriented Python over Java. So Java is not only object-oriented, it can write code in imperative paradigm, it can also write code in functional paradigm. So depending on what the choice your future companies have made, you can switch to one paradigm to another paradigm. So Python is compatible with all these three paradigms. All right. So why do we have to learn Python now? If all these 5 basic points are not enough for you to learn Python, let's take a look at another 10. The first of it is simple and easy to learn, which will answer the query of many of you who have asked me about moving from one language to Python. Should I start with Python as the first language, Python 2 or Python 3? Is it easy to learn? Will I be able to learn? Will I be able to get a job? Python is a very simple and easy to learn programming language. It has a very simple syntax, which is almost equal to pseudocode. Like I said before, if let's say you have to write a print statement that prints something on the console in C++, you do a cout. If you have to do the same in Java, you have to do system.out.println. Correct? And then give whatever you want to print here. Whereas in Python, it is as good as saying what you want to do. You want to print something on the screen, then just say print and you're done. As simple as that. So by pseudocode, I mean, let's say if you have some program, right? And you start writing the logic for it. Okay, first step we do this, second step we do this, third step, if yes comes, we do 4. If no comes as output, we do 5. So this is how you develop the logic of your program. Now, let's say if yes comes, you want to print. print go ahead, right? That is how you'll write it in your pseudocode. And exactly that is replicated in Python. So the syntax of Python is very simple and as good as writing a program logic with pen and paper. And that's the reason why it has been called as an executable pseudocode language. Alright, now let me show you this simple function, right? Public class demo. Inside that you have public static void main. Inside that, so all those of you who know Java, you will be able to understand this code. You have a class, then you have a static void main, inside which you have a line system.out.println which prints hello. Now all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code just to print hello on the screen. Whereas in Python, this is it. You want to print hello, you simply say print hello. You don't have to worry about the class, the main, the system.out.println. Fairly simple, right? So as a new person who's going to learn Python, now you can clearly understand, is this easy or is this easy, right? And also, more than the simple syntax, it has a large community of support. There are many forums out there which will help you if you have any difficulty coding in Python. Let's say you are facing an error, you are not able to debug what the error is. All you have to do is go to these communities, these forums, post your questions, and you will get multiple responses to your questions, because there are so many people who are working on Python all the time, and there are so many people who are on these discussion forums to help others, right? So if you are getting stuck, let's say you don't have a tutor, you don't have a lab instructor, you don't have your lecture teacher, your college teachers, all you have to do is go to these discussion forums at any time of the day, right? And just post your query up there, and you'll get your reply within 24 hours. That the communities of Python are so very strong. All right, and next, this fact I already mentioned, it's easier for new programmers. More than 35 of top 40 US universities have switched to Python for teaching CS 101. Now what is CS 101? It is the computer science introductory course that anyone takes when they join any university, computer science 101. And then down the line in their semesters, they go to 102, etc, etc. So the first course that the first programming language that anyone learns when they join this is Python, and which clearly says how easy it would be to learn Python. Now once they are familiar with Python, then they move on to other languages. Next point is, it is portable and extensible. Python is supported by multiple platforms, like I mentioned already. Windows, we have Linux, we have Mac OS, and even PlayStations, right? Python is supported by multiple platforms. So if you have written a program once running on Linux, let's say, you can port it to Mac or PlayStation or Windows and it will work just fine. As well as Python is extensible. So you can integrate your C and C++ components to Python applications and perform cross-language operations, right? Let's say you're working with a company which has designed its few of its application components in C and C++, correct? And now they want to move to Python and they want to integrate C and C++ to Python. It is fairly easy to do, and Python provides constructs to do the same. All right. Next up is web development. Now I remember a few of you asked me questions on web development as well. Is Python able to do web development? Can we make websites, etc, were the questions. So Python offers multiple web frameworks. Let's say the first one and the most famous web framework that Python uses is Django. Now you would have heard of at least one of these websites: Pinterest, New York Times, The Guardian, Bitbucket, Instagram. All these websites use Python at their backend, right? There are others as well, like Flask, Pyramid, Web2Py, which are highly used in web development across. Next up is artificial intelligence. Now, I'm pretty sure if you are in IT or if you are moving to IT, you would have heard the term artificial intelligence or machine learning. Now, artificial intelligence is the latest huge development in the tech world. There are multiple Python libraries like scikit-learn that provide ability to do complex ML tasks in a few statements. Now, there are other languages also, like someone mentioned in the comments already, R versus Python. So if you are getting into AI and ML, you can also use the language R. That is also one of the very good programming languages with which people are getting into AI and machine learning. But I would say the community of Python, the libraries that Python provides to do all the artificial intelligence and the machine learning task is very, very strong. So if let's say you are learning artificial intelligence or you are going into the machine learning field, I would recommend you learn Python and then you start slowly and slowly getting into AI or machine learning. Because like I mentioned here, we have scikit-learn, which is a huge library. Let me just show it to you. Right, so you see the website scikit-learn.org/stable. Machine learning in Python. It's a huge library and you can do so much with the data at hand using this library. You can do classification, regression, clustering, model selection, pre-processing, and the documentation provided also is huge in itself. So you won't have to go out and search for how do I do this, how do I do that. All you have to do is come to the website, the official website of scikit-learn, which is a library in Python, and you get to see everything, how to do, what to do, when to use what. You get a whole laundry list of things, right? And like scikit-learn, we have Keras, we have TensorFlow, which are two other libraries again provided by Python to work with artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now next up we have graphical applications. Someone also asked about graphical applications. So Python is also used for graphical applications because it provides a very standard GUI library called tkinter, which is used for designing multiple graphical user interfaces and very beautiful graphical user interfaces. It is also has been used to design desktop applications. It has also provided libraries like Pygame module for game development UIs. So those of you asking me for UI applications, graphical applications, you see that there are a whole list of libraries provided by Python to do the same, right? So that graphical application part also is now taken care of. Next up is testing framework. Before I move to testing framework, let me quickly take a few questions that are up there. I have learned basic of Python, how to start learning machine learning with Python. Sahil, start off with scikit-learn. Just go back to that page, start exploring the page scikit-learn and start using, let's say clustering, for example, or any of those things. Pick it up one by one and start reading and learning, and it will come to you slowly. All right. Okay, what else? What is the best source for learning Python, Durgesh? You have already got the playlist as response. Okay, mini project. You will get to know. Let me plan to do a mini project kind of video on Python so that you know how to design a Python project. Ravi, good to hear that you are learning Python and it is interesting. I'm sure it will motivate others also to do the same. All right, what else do we have? Please give some idea about native JavaScript. Walid, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stick to Python for the session. JavaScript, I'm afraid we even don't have anything up on JavaScript in the channel, but if at all we do, you do subscribe so that you get a notification whenever anything on JavaScript is posted on the channel. All right. Ravi is asking, is your playlist sufficient for Python? Ravi, the playlist is sufficient for anyone who wants to learn Python because it discusses everything in detail. In fact, the last video we did was important interview questions, in which I kind of did a revision of all the topics that we covered already, and it's not the end. We are going to add more videos, most probably more programs, how to write some programs in Python to give you more programming practice on Python, because so far we have discussed the concepts per se, along with how to write, let's say how to write a do while loop or how to write a if condition, etc., kind of code have been there, but we will in future add how to write a few programs in Python kind of videos. And also there were a few topics that were requested in the last live session, so we are going to add those up in the playlist as well. So the playlist is not yet over, it is going to continue, and we are going to add more and more depending on what you guys want on the playlist. All right. Can I start my first language as Python? Yes, you can. Suraj. Anuj has asked, please introduce yourself. Hi Anuj, I'm Shikha, and I'm the trainer here at TalentSprint, so you might see me often in the videos. Is it easy to debug a bug in open source software? Yes, it is very easy to debug a bug in open source software. In fact, in Python is an open source programming language, and the code is open for people to see, check, debug, fix, recommend, enhancements, etc. And it's open to general people, and their comments and enhancements are taken into consideration. Can we have some documentation on Python on your channel? Shreyansh, I'm afraid there is no documentation per se because it's a YouTube channel, so all you will get is YouTube videos. But we do have a blog in which we are going to put up more content on Python. Once it starts off, I'll share that blog link also here with you guys. So if you want to read off, you can read off as well instead of watching the videos. All right. How many months we need to learn basic knowledge to work on Python? Charan, 10 days, like I said before, is what you need to learn basic knowledge to work on Python. All right. And with that, let me move back to the slide. Okay, testing framework. So Python also supports cross-platform and cross-browser testing, and it has some very interesting built-in testing frameworks which cover debugging time and fast workflow. Now, any of you who has got into programming knows that testing is as much important while writing a software or building an application as is coding, right? Now, unless the language is compatible with good test frameworks, it is very difficult to see whether your software or your application does what it is expected to do or not, right? And Python provides great compatibility with tools like Selenium, and it has its own framework like PyTest, which are very interesting to work with, and they work cross-platform as well as cross-browser. So any testers out there or any of you who are interested in going to testing, Python could be a good pick for you as well. Next up, we have big data. Let's say Python handles big data very smoothly like it does AI and machine learning because number one, it supports parallel computing, and number two, because of the libraries like PyDoop, Dask, PySpark, these libraries make it fairly simple and easy to work with big data. And again, there is anything, any library on Python, any documentation on Python is very, very simple and easy to find and execute. As I've shown you already, scikit-learn documentation is huge and interesting and easy to browse through. Similarly is PyDoop and Dask and Spark. All right. Tulsi says, hi, I'm from Netherlands. Can I get chance or job working in Netherlands if I learn? I am not sure of how the process of job application and hiring is out there. But again, like I said before, if you practice consistently and if you code more and more, it will be very, very easy for you to score a job any part of the world in Python. When can we expect the blog? I'm not sure. We are still working on it, Ravi, but let's hope we'll kick it off maybe in a week or two at the max. And as soon as it is done, the next live session, whenever I take and it is done, I'll announce it and you guys can go ahead on the blog. When can I practice Python programming? Whenever you have time, Anuj. Kumar Manish says, how much data structure weightage in Python? Kumar, any programming language gives weightage to data structure, and by data structure I'm hoping you simply mean that how the data is organized and how you access your data, how you work with your data. For Python, it gives again as much weightage as any other programming language, but it is easier than any other programming language, which you will get to know once you start off learning with data types, how the variables, etc. store data in them. Let's say, for example, if you are writing a code in Python and you have Java, and you have to store an integer, you have to specify that the variable has to store an integer. You have to say int var equal to say 25, and then only the variable can store 25. Python kind of does it on its own. You don't have to explicitly specify that you are going to store an integer in the variable. All you have to do is say var equals to 25, and it automatically takes care of that was the variable called var stores an integer. So that way it is kind of easier to manipulate, easier to insert data, easier to access your data. And the more you work with different type of data types and variables and insertion deletions, you will understand that it is fairly easy than any other programming language. Can you please provide some links that are mentioned in your slides? Shreyansh, I'll in the video description box, I'll leave all the links that I have mentioned in the slides so that you guys can later go to just the description and click on the link. All right. And Sandeep Tripathi says, what is the basic pay for fresher in Python language? Sandeep, it will vary from company to company, and it will also vary on your knowledge, right? How much are you aware of? Are you starting at a beginner level in a startup or in an MNC or in a local company? All the pay grades and scales vary from that perspective. Shiva Shankar has asked library means. Well, okay, that is an interesting question. So let's say let me take an example of scikit. Scikit is a library to work with machine learning. So let's say there are 10 things that you want to do, the general things that you want to do whenever you are building a machine learning application or solving a problem using machine learning. So all those 10 general things that you would want to do are already coded by someone and put in the library for you to use. Okay, basically reusability of code provided, coupled together, put in a library and called scikit-learn. So down the line, if you want to do step number 4 of machine learning, right, you can take out this library, copy the code, or not even copy the code, just call the function that does it for you, and you're done with that. You don't have to bother about behind the scenes how it is done, or you don't have to worry about the details of how someone has written and done it already for you, right? All you have to do is know that scikit-learn can do it for me. I have to import scikit-learn, I have to call this function of scikit-learn, and that part of the problem is done. then you can move on to solving the rest of the problem. So library is basically a group of functions. Simply put, a group of functions in which the functions are going to do some things for you. Some things that are specific to that particular problem area. For scikit-learn, it is machine learning, right? So some people said, okay, this kind of operation is repeated in every machine learning problem, every machine learning program, every machine learning application. So let me make a generic code of this, put it in the scikit-learn library. Similarly, let's say for the library PyDoop, that is big data specific. So someone was coding on big data, someone saw that, okay, boss, this code is being repeated everywhere. So let me just make a generic code of it, put it in a library called PyDoop. So down the line, anyone who is working on big data can go to my library PyDoop, use this piece of code, and then move on to whatever they want to do next. Basically easing your task. But yes, you need to know which library you have to go to for a particular operation that you want to perform. All right. Mandeep Budala is asking, is it platform independent? Yes, it is very much platform independent. Do we need C language to learn Python? No, Prabhu, you don't need any language to learn Python. Okay, Charan has pointed out Python founder is from Netherlands only. So I don't know why you people are worried so much like Indians. Well, Charan, the worries remain same all over the world. So you cannot comment on that. Shravani says, I'm her favorite teacher. Well, Shravani, thank you so much. I hope you are learning from your teacher. Kanan says, suggest me a source to learn Python, most probably a foreign author. Kanan, if you have to go and get a book for yourself, I would say you can Google for Python cookbook. That's a very interesting book that was recommended to me by Ashokan for anyone who wants to learn Python, get into Python. Just type Python cookbook. You will find it on Amazon again also, I guess. So you can go ahead and get started with that. Okay, moving on. Scripting and automation. Python is a very good language for not only programming and web designing and gaming and GUI, but it is also equally good for scripting to provide automation, right? What do I mean by automation? Simply put, automate certain tasks in a program. Let's say you have a particular piece of task that is being done by your company repeatedly. You don't want some individual to work on that, sit on that for 5 hours, 6 hours. You automate that task by writing a script. And Python is a very interesting language to do that automation scripting kind of work. And also another point to add up to this is, since it is interpreted rather than being compiled, that also adds up to the advantage of Python being used as scripting or automation language. The 9th point is data science. Someone already talked about data science when I was taking questions. It is very well suited for data manipulation, data analysis. It has numerical engines like NumPy, Pandas, which have multiple functions which you can use to manipulate your data, to analyze your data, what is where, what kind of division in the data is possible, what is not possible, to deduce inferences from your data. It deals with all sorts of tabular data, arbitrary matrix data, any observational data, statistical data, etc., etc. And again, interesting libraries also include Pandas and Matplotlib, right? So NumPy and Pandas I already mentioned in point 2. Matplotlib is another very interesting library by Python, written in Python, of course. All these libraries that we have discussed throughout this session are all written in Python. All right. And now before I move to the 10th, let's again take a look at your questions. What prerequisite knowledge required to be good in 1 machine learning, 2 data scientist? Apart from Python, what else is required? Apart from Python, I would say Maths is the second most important thing that is required. You need to be well versed with linear algebra, you need to be good at probability and all those things to move into either machine learning or data science, right? These maths is the, I would say, next after Python. Number 2 is maths. Shravani says, I'm having Python in current semester and I am learning a lot. That's good to hear, Shravani. Jeevan, I hope I answered your question about what is scripting. Bhumika says, suggest online course for Python. Bhumika, you can go to the channel. There is a playlist which is specifically designed in mind for beginners. So it doesn't assume that you already have some programming language or not. It has been designed keeping in mind that someone is new to a programming language. So we have talked about simple details like how to install Python on your machine, or what does an if statement do, right? So you can go through the playlist, Bhumika, and also if you have any doubts or queries related to any of the video that is posted, just post a comment and we'll get back to you on that. Meher Sahib has also suggested a book for someone who was requesting for a book. Core Python by Weasley Jichin is a book for Python. Okay, the book I prescribed is written by the author. I don't remember the author. Let me search it and tell it to you before the session. As a fresher, is it necessary to good in Django or any framework? Charan, it is not necessary, but like I said before, the more you know, the more it is to your advantage. Shravani has also suggested a book. How about cloud computing and IoT? Again, you just get into Python. There is a host of libraries in any of these fields. All right. Ravi is asking, how can I ask questions if I face any problem during code? Ravi, you can post your questions in the comment of the video and we'll get back to you. Can we design a library management system using Python? But how? Just a little. Okay, library management system. Well, Ameya, I would see if I can do a video on this. Definitely not going to take it up in this session, but yeah, let me figure a way to explain this to you through a video. Maybe the next video up on the playlist, Python playlist, we can take up this library management system. All right, so I figure you guys are more interested in number 1, Python project, and number 2, library management system. Cool, so we'll see what we can do. And before I close off, let us take the last slide. That is the last reason to learn Python is because it is widely used. You see, Google search engine majorly uses Python. YouTube has Python at the back end. Dropbox, Reddit, Quora, companies like Instagram, NASA, IBM, Dropbox, all these places there is Python at the back. So all those of you who have been asking me about, will I get a job? Are there enough jobs? What kind of job will I get? I think these names should be enough to motivate you to learn Python. Companies like Google, companies like Instagram, institutions like NASA, IBM are all using Python to do what they want to do. So down the line, if your dream job is to get into any of these companies, it is right now the best time for you to start learning Python, right? So that down the line, you can move on to any of these companies. And with that, I remember someone asked for cookbook. Yeah, so this is the book I was referring to, Python Cookbook by David Beasley. So you just type Python Cookbook on Chrome, you will get to see the book, and it is available on Amazon as well, like I said before. You can get it, I think, at your local bookstores also probably. But if not there, you can definitely find it on Amazon or Flipkart or any of these sites. All right. Cool. And with that note, we are done with the session for today. Let me just see if you guys have any more questions for me. Just a second. Yeah. So what more do we have? Yeah, someone already answered. Cookbook is from David Beasley. Approx how many days? Venkateshan, approx 10 days to learn all the basics, and then depends on how hard you practice, how more you practice, how often you practice to master everything. Shravani, Java is a pure object-oriented programming language. Which better to do as training, CCNA or Python as an electrical engineer? If you are doing a training, Sudeep, I would say go for Python at this point in time. Will you teach us Django framework or any framework later? I'm not sure, Charan, if we'll go deeper into any of the frameworks, but maybe an introductory session on Django. All right, Rishabh, I think I missed your question, so if you can type it again. So sorry. When will be the next session? Okay, the next session, we have sessions every Monday. So you can subscribe to the channel to get notifications. Also, in addition, if there is anything explicitly that we want to do a session on, we also do sessions midweek, let's say a Thursday or a Wednesday. So depending on what session is in plan, we go ahead with the days, but ideally every Monday there is one session at 6 o'clock. So you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of the live sessions or any of the videos that are added. Please keep adding videos to the Python bootcamp. Yes, we will definitely continue Python bootcamp, Vikram. Sushant is asking, do you gonna give classes on Python? Sushant, there is already a playlist. Okay, I think many of you have not seen it, so let me just quickly go ahead and show it to you. So all you have to do is go to YouTube. All right, yeah, now you can see the screen, I guess. So go to YouTube, TalentSprint Coding Bootcamp, which will take you to the channel, TalentSprint Coding Bootcamp channel, and you have a laundry list of videos. So this is the live session that is going on, and Python for beginners, there is a playlist that is already there which has 8 videos already. So we have talked about list and list comprehensions. Ashokan talked about sets and files, tuples and dictionaries, conditional constructs. We have starting off with how to set up Python in Jupyter Notebook on your machines, then basic operators. So covered everything in detail, and this playlist is going to continue. There is a Java for beginner playlist as well, in which we have 23 videos so far till Aries. There are going to be videos added on this as well for those of you who are learning Java. Then we have the coding questions as well, which was requested by most of you people. So questions like 6 important programming languages to learn, 7 tricky interview questions on list. Basically, this playlist deals with interview questions, top 11 tricky Java coding questions. You know, anything and everything related to coding and interviews is covered in this playlist. So top 12 important Java interview questions on serialization, 20 most commonly asked interview questions on C and C++. So depending on what language you are learning or which interview you are going to go to, this playlist might be helpful to anyone going to give an interview, right? Like top 12 commonly asked important Java interview questions, specifically on OOPS concept. So OOPS concept is one of the most frequently asked topic in any Java interview. So this video is just about OOPS concept interview questions, right? Then we also have videos on how to write your resumes, English videos, know the difference between should and must, right? How to improve your English videos are also there. So you can go through those videos. Many coding MCAT like programs or exams ask aptitude as well in the exam. So anyone sitting for MCAT can go through the aptitude tutorials on the channel. 3 steps to introduce yourself in an interview. If you are going to an interview and you want to prep yourself, what should I do, what should I not do in an interview, how should I introduce myself, how do I sit in a group discussion, all those things are also present on the channel. So it's kind of a combination, an overall combination of anything and everything that anyone would want in while given an interview or going to a written exam that tests your aptitude as well as your English as well as your programming. So you have everything combined on the channel. And like I said, for so that you don't miss out on any live sessions, you can go ahead and subscribe, and every Monday 6 p.m. there is a live session. Is it possible to provide interview question on Python for freshers? Charan, there is already a video on interview question on Python. So you can go back to the playlist, check out the last session that we took last Monday, I guess, that was on interview questions on Python. That might help you. All right. So I'll close off on that note. If you guys have any recommendations, what you want to see more on the channel, drop your questions or your queries or your doubts, whatever, on the comments in the videos, and I'll try to take them up as soon as possible. Thank you everyone, and happy coding. Bye.